Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Thursday, it's November 8th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Friday anymore. Um, Another very slow weekday. There was an FOMC announcement at 1 today, so you had to be really careful. Um, the blue area is marked out between 12, and this is about when it slowed down and kind of got back to normal right over here. So about 115 or so, you could have started trading. There's a nice little setup here. But other than that, there wasn't much. Really, the only way that you can safely trade this, a range like this, is to buy the lows and sell the highs. And the lows are really consistent, so they're somewhat easy to see here. On the other hand, the highs were originally up here, then they moved to here, then they moved back to here, and so they're not really consistent across here, so it makes it much more difficult to sell off the highs, and so you just don't have a lot of opportunity here. You got to be really careful in the middle. Once you start to get to the middle, it gets difficult. So it won't take long today, but once we made this first leg up, once we started going higher again, you just kind of look for that measured move, and you can see we got almost a perfect measured move. It looked like we were going to sell off, and then it took up again, it started up again. But and also when we started lower here, down here, notice the measured move. You just measure that first range and you look for something very similar, and you can see we came within maybe a tick or so of a measured move there. So that would have given you a nice target. That's what that is. That's how I found that. And you could have also, I would have also measured it this way as well. Probably measure it right there, like so, and that would have given you here. But you can see this one was a little more accurate because it's more of a range day than it really is a trend day. We had a little bit of a trend down, but really I would say we were still in the range until right here, and then we made a little bit of a trend down. So you don't have a whole lot to work with. So it's not going to take long to go through the trades today. There's some other possibilities here. There just weren't very good setups on my chart. It just seems like the last few days I'm not getting very many signal bars, not very many good ones, and that makes a difference. I'm a firm believer in using signal bars to weed your trades out. I see a lot. It saves me a lot more headaches than it keeps me out of good trades. So there's one other one here that this one was a possibility. The market was still moving pretty quickly right here, but look how far away we are from the EMA. Look at that big reversal bar. So that one's a possibility as well. I didn't mark it. It's still within that first few minutes of the 1 o'clock. I mean, it's only like 104 right there. So, we only made, we moved down 3 or 4 bars there really quickly. So, but it's basically slow enough you might could have traded that if you wanted to. I mean, it's not completely just rocketing away there. So, and you can see there's just a few trades here. But let me back out a little bit. We'll talk about them and we'll go from there. First trade I saw was this move right here. When you're in a range like this, you're just looking to buy off the lows, and you need a good signal bar, and you got one there, and you got enough room to get out. So I like that one. That's the first buy. Notice there's a couple more. There's a little inside bar right here that was a little bit tempting, but you see it actually turned down again before it went higher, and you could have gotten stopped out there. It would have worked, but I just don't think you want to, there's nothing else in here. 7 o'clock hour came right in here somewhere. I can't remember. I think it was right in this little sideways stuff. And this is just too sideways. Unless you can get in at the very low or the high, you just got to stay out. And like, here's another good signal bar. But look how close to the low it is. And look what would have happened. If you tried to go short there, you wouldn't have had enough room to get out anyway. But it didn't even matter. It went like 1 or 2 ticks and reversed on you. And this might have been a good place, normally I would say, to enter, but it's so close to the highs across here, you don't have a lot of room. I mean, you could probably argue for that one to be green, but I just don't like it into all that resistance because look how many times it went up there and turned down, and it could have done the same thing. So, of course, then we've got a trend line working up here. You do have a bounce off the key entry point, and it is a breakout pullback, but it's a first entry. But that's another one that's a possibility that you could take. And then you could look at this like a double bottom, and then a first entry, second entry. So you could say treat this a little bit like a failed second entry short, but it's so big and it's right into those highs. But if you see the channel, you should notice you have room there. So that's a possibility as well. And then I don't see, there's too much sideways here. You got a little trading range and it's getting tighter and tighter. And you might have treated this like a little failed breakout, but then it never broke lower. You got a sideways bar and then this bar. So this is really your signal bar, one of these two. Actually, you could look at that one and it's just, again, it's just too much sideways. That's not really the highs where you would expect it to turn down. You'd be looking for it more up here somewhere. And so that's really risky. You need to wait on a lower high, and that doesn't come till here. I do like this one just simply because it's on that trend line. It's a higher low right there. So it's, even though it didn't break higher, it's still like a second entry off a key entry point. And that took us all the way back down. That was probably the trade of the day, really, at that point. Then notice we bounced down here a couple more times. Again, I don't have a very good signal bar here. I would have liked that one. Then you finally get a signal bar here, a higher low off the lows, and we're looking for prices to go back up here. Normally, I'd say you don't really want to go long into that EMA either, but we're making higher highs and higher lows, and we're coming off a range, so we're probably headed to the upper side. So for that reason, then it comes back here and gives you a failed second entry short. So, and it is again off the key entry point. So you might have taken that one as well. That's a really bearish bar, but it doesn't really matter so much if it's like a failed second entry short. And we've got a double bottom there. So first entry, second entry, it did push through the EMA and pull back right off the key entry point. So that's another one, possibility. And then of course it just comes right back through the trend line and rockets higher. Notice we got a break of this trend line and a new high in place. And so I don't really like going long there, although a lot of times you'll get a second leg up. There is a failed second entry short here, but we've already had a break and you got two legs, at least two swings up now. So it's just getting really dangerous. It does turn down. Again, you get a lower high here, but not a very good signal bar. Turns up here. Again, there's really a hidden second entry, but we're below the EMA, very bearish signal bar. It's just nothing here. And then you finally get a chance to with a higher low and you're right back into these highs. So you don't want to risk that one. And we're just kind of just chopping along. Again, you might have treated that like a failed break higher. And so that's a possibility because there is some resistance across there by now. So that's a possibility, and it is a second entry too. Notice that new low, first entry, second entry. So you could treat that like a failed breakout and a second entry short. I didn't mark it because it's so far away from the actual previous highs up there. And then so finally you make a lower high here. Again, it's not a perfect signal bar. It's more bearish than bullish, but I would at least be thinking, hey, we're probably going to get two legs down, but it is off the high, so we're maybe heading all the way down. And so even if you just look for a measured move, you see we actually made a perfect measured move and tried to bounce before it went lower. So you got plenty of room for that. But again, at this point, if this turns out to be the high of the range, then we're probably headed back down here again. And so that was another fairly nice move there. You might have caught a runner on that one. And there's actually a trend line. I didn't draw it here. It's kind of a little spiking channel. And there's another turn down right there and there, but I don't like those. When you start to get to the middle and down to the low, you got to have a really good entry. And of course, we rocketed up, and we've already talked about this is all inside the 12 o'clock hour too, so that's the main reason I didn't mark any of those. But they're not very good setups anyway. So the only one I really like in this trading hour here that during the FOMC announcement is this one right here. Maybe take that one. And then notice we make a high, a lower high. We push through the EMA, a failed second entry long, a nice bearish bar. I like that one. And when we shot on through here, like I showed you, I'd be looking for the target down here. And notice that we tried to go higher once, tried to go higher twice. and you got a fairly bearish bar. We're probably headed to this low, so you might risk that one too. That's a little bit congestive there, but we're making lower highs and you got a bearish bar, and so we're probably headed down here. So I did mark it green, and then again we bounced off the low here. Notice how many times we've bounced there now. Actually, I take that back. We hadn't bounced there yet. That's just simply the measured move. So with that bullish reversal bar being that far away, you might risk that one. This would have been the better one, but then you don't get a very good signal bar, so I didn't like it. You finally got your reversal here, and so I marked that one. The only problem here, again, is there's a little bit of resistance up here. You can see that working across there. It would have been enough room to get out, just enough. I think you had a tick or two to spare. Plus it's late in the day, so I'm not crazy about making that one blue. And that got us in the 2 o'clock hour. So not a lot happening here. It's really not. And we complained about another day earlier in the week being so bad, but this has probably got it topped. So I think there were a few more trades than this maybe. So really, when you're stuck in stuff like this, it's best to stay out of it. And it looked like we may be back in it here again. Then you got a little, I mean, if you drag this over here, you can see eventually we got a little breakout, pull back long right there off that key entry point. But then this one was back down underneath. There's just not much happening here. So you just got to be really careful in that tight stuff. And then when you're in a range, when you're in the middle of the range, period, you got to be careful. Because you can see a lot of times it'll reverse on you at weird places. Like here it reversed in the mid to upper 2/3. Same thing here, mid to upper 2/3. And so the ideal places are the support of the range and the resistance, which is here and really up here. But anyway, that's it for today, and that's going to do it for the week. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm trying to remember if Monday, I want to say there's some kind of government holiday. I don't think the markets are closed, but I'll just have to look and see. I think their market is trading Monday, but there's some kind of holiday Monday, government holiday that I saw on the calendar, and I meant to check to see if it was a non-trading day, but I think it is a trading day, so we should be back Monday. But anyway, look at your calendar, and if it is a holiday, we won't be, but if it's not, I'll be back. And I'm pretty sure that the market's open that day at this point, but I did mean to check it, and I forgot to check it before I started the video. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Most likely we'll be back Monday. If not, if it is a holiday, we'll be back Tuesday. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.